Welcome to Be My Travel Muse. I'm Kristen, and today we're talking about whether you should pick El Nido or Coron if you're going to be traveling to Palawan, Philippines, and maybe you don't have enough time to visit both, or you want to decide which one should get more of your time, and I'm here to help you make that decision. So let's talk about the cool things about each, the cons as well, and also the accommodation, because that's important. The costs of each, and then that should help you to make a decision on which one you prefer. Let's start chronologically for me. I began my tour in El Nido.
That is what we do. We overcome obstacles. That is what we do.
Now, I did private tours in both places so that I could have the best possibility of getting some of these beautiful spots all to myself. On El Nido, that's not necessarily easy to do, but it depends on whether you take tour A or B, or of course C and D. So let's go over some highlights first. The big lagoon in El Nido was probably my favorite thing of all the places that I visited in Palawan, to be honest with you. It was so much fun to swim through it when everyone else decided to kayak. I had such a blast just swimming through this beautiful clear water and having an opportunity to float amongst all of these cliffs. It might be because it was the first big thing that I did in either place that it sticks out so positively in my memory, but I actually really loved this experience. I also got the secret lagoon all to myself just for a few moments, but it was kind of beautiful to have that. Other big highlights are on Tour B. If you take a private tour, you can reverse it, and since it's not as popular as Tours A and D, you can have a lot more of that all to yourself. Some of those highlights for me was definitely Snake Island because I am a sandbar enthusiast, so if you are too, this is a super long sandbar. It's pretty cool to see. Las Cabañas Beach, which is sort of close to El Nido town, maybe a 15 to 20 minute tricycle ride away, is amazing for sunset. The colors are just insane. So that's something that would be really cool in terms of maybe staying there, and I might do that in the future should I go back. That said, I'm not sure that I will go back to El Nido because now we're going to talk about some cons. Well, first of all, El Nido town is nothing too special, although Coron Beach, I think? That's where I stayed in. It was pretty nice at a place called El Nido overlooking, and through them I booked my tours, which, look, for the most part, they're just going to call a boat and you don't really know what you're getting until the day of, and the right hand is not always talking to the left. So in terms of the tours, you could take a group tour, which means a lot of people on the boat with you and you're not going to get anything all to yourself, or booking a private tour, which these days is really expensive. It could be upwards of $100 to $150 to get your own boat. Yes. So make sure that you haggle, bring your own lunch, which saves a lot on the cost, and bring your own snorkeling gear, and that will cut things down for you big time. However, it is just not as cheap to get the tours and stuff in El Nido as it used to be. So I wish that it was like other parts of the Philippines where you could just quite easily go haggle directly with a boat and get on and have a really cool sort of private experience. But in a place as popular as El Nido, things are just a lot more organized, and so you can't just do that anymore. I would recommend that you still take a private tour if you want to have any privacy and you have the money to do it, but just know that you won't have this sort of secluded Robinson Crusoe experience that you could get in Coron. So that leads me to Coron and why I kind of like it better. So even though the big lagoon in El Nido was sort of the highlight of everything for me, Coron has some really amazing things too. First of all, the Black Island is not nearly as popular because it is quite remote and far out from Coron town, but it has a cave. It has amazing cliffs. It has a beautiful beach, and you can pretty much have most of this island to yourself for most of the day because the tour boats just don't make it out that far typically. Also, you can hire your own boat there, and if you share it with enough people, it can be a lot cheaper than in El Nido. Just keep in mind that every single place you stop has its own entrance fee, which makes things a little tricky too. So the bare minimum for a boat is 2,900 pesos. If you get enough friends together, that's not bad. And then it's usually between a 200 and 300 peso entry fee for each stop. Speaking of stops, Kayangan Lake and the Twin Lagoon were pretty mobbed when I went, so I would definitely recommend going there super early in the morning, around 7 if you can, so that you can be the only one there, because I think that these would both be truly magical if you had them all to yourself. I did get a little bit luckier with Barracuda Lake, which definitely is similar to Kayangan Lake, and some snorkeling spots and beaches by just doing my best to go each place when the crowds weren't there. My best experience with boats and boat captains was in Coron, where they were very friendly, and it was just an overall very enjoyable experience. So if I were deciding between the two, I feel like El Nido is a bit more built up than Coron. That said, there's nowhere really amazing to stay in Coron town, especially that gives you a beautiful view of the sunset like you get in Los Cabanas in El Nido. I did stay in a really amazing treehouse on the top end of the island of Busuanga, which is where Coron town is as well. You might consider splitting your time on Coron between that upper portion and the southern portion, because it gives you access to different islands. So if I were to do it all over again, I would probably do some kind of like houseboat thing where I got to island hop and be in these beautiful places in the off times. So that's something I might consider for the future. I've heard good things about the Tao expedition too. Never tried it, but I think that might be something I would do in the future too, to get even more seclusion, because that's what I'm into. So I hope that this video helped you to narrow it down. What I would do is just pick based on what you want to see. And if you're okay with crowds and you're just dying to see the big lagoon, go to El Nido. If you really want to try to get some things all to yourself, then Coron might be a better bet. I hope this video helped you. You might have more questions at the end than solutions, but that's because so many beautiful places await you. So just know that you can't go wrong, and it's going to be an amazing trip. Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next Wednesday. Make sure to subscribe for all my videos about the Philippines. Bye!